Good evening. Welcome to WSBI, your resource for success podcast program, where you get to meet inspiring women-owned businesses from across the country. And now, for your host, Kimberly McLemore.
Good evening and welcome to WSBI, your Resource for Success podcast program, where you get to meet inspiring women-owned businesses from across the country. I'm your host, Kimberly McLemore, and welcome to another night of sharing. With us, we have Alesha Brown, owner of Fruition Publishing Concierge Services, a division of Alesha Brown, LLC. Victim, survivor, leader, or visionary. At times, we all need to be inspired. Alesha Brown, the Joy Guru, is a best-selling author, international editor and publisher and transformational speaker who encourages audiences by igniting the fire within and helping them take center stage. With comprehensive, simple techniques and words of inspiration, Alesha helps the old and young alike grab a hold of their dreams while identifying the roots of their unhappiness and those things that hold them back. A humorist and gifted speaker, Alesha Brown delivers entertaining, engaging presentations with thought-provoking exercises and vivid illustrations to connect with an audience. Fruition Publishing Concierge Services offers author consultation, writing, coaching, and publishing services to help people share their story with the masses. As a childhood abuse survivor, Alesha is on a mission to reverse the damage of abuse by encouraging survivors to write and publish their stories in order to pay it forward and create a circle of healing. So without further ado, please help me welcome to my platform, Miss Alesha Brown. Hi, Alesha. How are you?
Hello. I am doing well, and thank you for having me.
Well, it is my pleasure, and I'm excited to be able to have the opportunity. I mean, you know, we do know each other, so this should be probably one of the best and funniest interviews I have done to date. So, because obviously, you know, people don't know we've been talking prior to the interview. So, because I'm going to tell y'all, Alesha's like, I'm nervous. I'm like, really? So,
yeah. But hopefully you won't hear it.
I think that we're going to be fine. I don't think that you're going to be as nervous as you think that you will be. So, anyway. But before we dive into any parts of this interview, questions and so forth, why don't you just tell the listeners a little more about who you are personally? Anything that I haven't mentioned that I read just a few minutes ago would be great to hear.
Oh, wow. I think you covered the most important part. I mean, that's perfect. You know, I'm a firm believer that at the end of the day, we all have a story to tell. But you well know, definitely as a consultant, that it's about how you package that story and then how you execute that will make all the difference in the world and whether you're successful. So my mission, as you've already talked about, you know, my mission is really to pull that story out of you and then help you connect to your ideal audience that what your expertise, what solution you provide is exactly what they need right now.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. But, you know, even though we all have a story, you definitely started from somewhere. You know, we all have our own background story to tell, because without the story that you have in the background, you probably would have never seen yourself doing what you're doing. So why don't you at least give the listeners a little bit of understanding about who Miss Alesha Brown is and how we got to this point.
Well, child, that's a loaded question. Okay, I'll try to make this simple, short, long, short. So, believe it or not, I would say for the majority of my childhood, I really didn't speak that much. Mm-hmm. Growing up as a person that was suffering from abuse at home, I was an overweight child, so, you know, I had bullying and teasing at school. I never really had a place that was safe other than the library. My mother, being a former educator, she made sure that I constantly was at the library and reading. And so that was my love. That was my escape. And one of the things that just left a lasting impact was I was reading pretty much everything. I mean, from Stephen King to, you know, the Babysitter's Club to Maya Angelou, to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
But it was the story of survivors, other abuse survivors,
Wow.
that when I was suicidal as a child, I would look at them and say, if they've went through worse experiences than me and they managed to still be successful, then maybe I can too. So I didn't realize it back then. I said, oh, one day I want to publish a book. Didn't really give thought to what the book would be about or whatever. Just something I said out of my mouth I want to do. But as I grew older, there was a tug on my heart that said, there are other people that you keep meeting that have been through your experiences and worse. You know their pain. You know what it's like to be on the end, on the ledge and want to jump off, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
There are things that you told them, you inspired them, you transformed them, you helped them seek help. In order to really reach more people that way and not exhaust yourself so much, if you put this in a book, you could reach the masses. So put it in a book, formalize it, have that dream that you said you were going to do,
mm-hmm.
and make it happen. Now, I should tell you, from the initial time as a child, I said, well, one day I'm going to publish and write a book. It was probably 25 years plus before I actually did that.
Right. And
Yeah.
I'm sure there's plenty of reasoning behind that, that you just didn't, even though the thought was there. But the question I had that, you said that you were in an abusive family. So how many years of abuse were you going through as a child? And then with that understanding, when did it really hit you and that you knew that you were actually being abused?
Oh, God. The abuse was for 17 years. And the reason I can tell you it was for 17 years, because my abuser, who was my father, died when I was 17.
Oh, wow.
I would say, oh, yes. So it was like just different things were ingrained in me, I would say, from basically birth. So as far as when did I know I was being abused, I don't really know. I mean, you certain things abusers do, and I always tell people, abusers are very skillful. They plant that seed. They groom you.
Mm-hmm.
So it's some things they've done that you just normalize, and you think this is what happens to everybody. That as a little child, and then your comprehension level, you don't know that's abuse. You just think it's normal. I think it was more maybe you could say adolescence. I realized that this was abusive. Mm-hmm. But again, there's nothing you can do. You're a child. Right. So that victimization role, it's like you just believe it. So if someone says you're stupid, you're worthless, that's what you live up to, because you don't know anything else, Right. And then you would think, I'll add this, one would feel like, oh my goodness, well, when he was 7, he died when you're 17, you're free. But I tell people, if you lived as a caged animal for 17 years and someone opens that door, you don't know what freedom is. You'll stay and live like you're still locked, So, wow, it was really something. And it was used as a motivation later.
Mm-hmm. Right. And even till this day, though, I'm sure that even though you utilize it to motivate and help others, it's still always something that I think it's hard for anybody who's gone through abuse, which, I understand. And obviously my abuse was different than yours, being that I'm a domestic abuse survivor, but abuse is abuse. And even though we many of times try to keep that in the background of our lives, but at the same token, like you said, we're constantly pulling it. It's being pulled out because we're so busy trying to help others. And the way that you blossomed into this, I guess my question is, a part of what you went through, how did you utilize this as your healing point, to help you start moving forward? What was your healing techniques that you use, to get through this process after the 17 years was over with?
It's funny you asked that, because I believe business-wise, emotional-wise, whatever the issue is, we have to continue to learn. We have to be active and continuing to grow. And when you've been through things like this, healing is the rest of your life. You can deal with this over here, and you'll see evidence of something maybe 10 years down the road in another way. Mm-hmm. So I'll say, in the beginning, I think I masked. And I realized, a friend of ours was talking about that here recently. I took a peer recovery support training. And I was realizing some of the things we were learning that, there's been some other ways I still mask. Because, if you're a person that's very, I'll give you an example. You're you're a perfectionist. Mm-hmm. So on the job, they love you because you're a person that it's going to get done. It's going to be right. You'll spend excessive amount of hours to make sure everything is perfect. As an entrepreneur, that's rewarded. Oh my goodness, they're everywhere. They're doing this, they're doing this. But you know what? Sometimes that's a mask. That's anxiety. And your body is breaking down eventually behind the weight of that. So you look like a superstar, right, but you are running yourself ragged. So it was different things. I know I was a very studious person, so going to college and being educated that way, I was creative. So, a lot of the ideas I had and different projects I worked on, whether it was work, later, being a full-time entrepreneur. So mm-hmm. those were things I think were coping mechanisms. Mm-hmm. But then my body told me later that, no, you still have the weight of this that you're dealing with. And it starts showing me in the way it started breaking down. Mm-hmm. The effects of abuse were still there from things that had not been dealt with.
Right, exactly. So, like you said, everything was a coping mechanism. It was a way to keep you from having to deal with it. But on the other side, it affected you physically. It probably still affected you mentally and emotionally. So, once you realized that you needed to cope with those other things that just were, something that you wanted to push aside but no longer could, what was those next steps? What was those next steps like for you? Because I guess what I'm trying to do is build this process of understanding that people need to know is that when you come out of abuse, we all know we still have to live. But what is that like? What is that after effect that most people don't like to talk about or discuss because it is a process. So what was your next step on that?
Okay. Well, one of the things I would say for people that have been through abuse, I normally put you in two categories. You're either the helper or you're the abuser. We have some people that you're on this mission to help everybody, and certainly I was. Because, I like to be the optimist and look at the world for what it should be and what we can make it be. Mm-hmm. And then you have people that are just mean and nasty and, they victimize other people like they were victimized. Right. I got into all of these pursuits. So, as an entrepreneur, you're discovered. So that led to nonprofit work, that led to ministry work, and those are all great things. And of course, as a business owner, you're networking with people. So you're out here trying to help people that have been through abuse. You're out here trying to help people maybe going through the stigma of mental illness. And you're doing all these good things. But what that led to is also my network of people. So when I was going to a challenge and I'm noticing some things, I'm getting training over here. So I'm going, wait a minute. That sounds like me. I was doing a podcast interview during this holiday season just a few months ago and had someone on talking about seasonal depression. I'm like, whoa, that sounds like, wow. And I was going through grieving and all of those things. So the beauty of it is with the work I was doing and the network I have, I got on the phone. Hey, I need to talk to you, therapists and things like that. No, right. This isn't about business. This is about me. And I need you to look at me as a client and let me ask you, what is your professional advice? Mm-hmm. So one of the things of it was knowing when to ask for help and not being ashamed, having a network, having some type of support in the people that are around you. If you have that in your network, just being honest and saying, hey, I think something's off here. I need your professional opinion. And then if you don't have that, a lot of time insurance companies have things built in. Sometimes, your insurance will have where you can talk to someone free on the phone, or they'll have something where there's a private whatever that you can go to and they don't report it back to your worker. Mm-hmm. And then sometimes, national associations like NAMI, they have support peer groups that you can go and talk about things. But my thing is you've got to ask for help. You can't fix everything on your own, just like a business. You can't run everything on your own. You have to be able to say, it's me that needs help. I don't know what help I need, but I know something's not right, and then you go ask for help. So that was definitely something I did.
Right. And then, like you said, it's still something that's kind of an awakening situation. It's always something I find that will trigger those emotions or trigger the thoughts. Because when you think that they're very deep, inside of you and you're still going on with your everyday life. And then all of a sudden it's like, ooh, what just happened there?
Yeah.
And being, no, go ahead. You're going to say something?
Oh, no. I was going to say, this is where being authentic means everything. Because here I was taking training to help the community. I thought it was very important as a speaker, an advocate, as a church member, as a nonprofit member. You can mean well, but if you're not up on the current research and information, what to say, what not to say, you could possibly injure people. Exactly. So you always want to have resources to help the people you're trying to speak to. Right. But while I was in this, I'm sitting here going, okay, so I'm identifying things within myself, and this is an environment to share. But when I came back to my own family, I won't give you all the details, but I will say that something that was held secret for more than 70 years was exposed. And that triggered something different because I had never known it. So you need to make sure you practice what you preach and that you're authentic. Because things happen, you're right, it will trigger you, and you've got to be ready.
Right, and I agree with that. And like you said, there's always some secrets that are lying dormant that you don't know, or if you do know, they're really not secrets, but for some that you just never knew. And then now, like I said, it's that one item that may trigger you to realize that this really isn't just about everybody else. It's also beyond them. It's about me and the things that I still need to figure out. And like I said, being authentic is important and being able to help people. But then there's also those people that you can still be authentic with, but there's still, you can't help them until they also relay their truth and realizing that this here is just the beginning point, because the healing process is long. There is no time limit on healing.
No.
And
I agree.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that that's where most people don't understand, when you've been abused, because I know the question I always get is, well, how, after everything you went through, how can you continue to move on? How can I not? You're here, you're alive, you have purpose, there's meaning behind that. So what do? I can go sit in my corner and cry, but that doesn't give me any more benefit. And obviously, you still, like I said, we still deal with things, but because we're human. But at the same token, we're supposed to live. And I think that's where I find that most of the people that I'm encountered with who have been through abuse is that they don't know how to live anymore, because everybody is constantly telling you you're still a survivor. How do you get out of that survivor mode and realize that, yes, you were surviving when you were going through the process of that, but no longer should you just be surviving. And I think our stories are very important to share. But going beyond the stories, what I want to hear more about is the book. What was your book about? And how do you feel that your book has definitely helped and ignited some others? And then we'll talk a little bit more about your businesses.
Okay. The first book was Sometimes All You Have is Happy. And it was meant to be a short read. It was a guide to how you obtain happiness. And why that's important is I described that happiness and joy are two different things. And sometimes we really mess this up. Happiness is meant to be short. I can listen to a song and I'm happy. Okay. Joy is a permanent state that has nothing to do. It's more like your mindset. It has nothing to do with everything around you. So it's not predicated on current events or this over here. It's a permanent state. Happiness is more temporal. But what I learned was, if I'm ready to jump off the ledge, I don't need the lofty goal of joy. I need happiness. I need something to pull me, something to bring me back, to refocus me in this moment, to make me feel that life is worth living. I need to address certain things in this moment that are really hurting me. I mean, that's like taking someone that has a heart attack and you're going to sit there and preach to them about healthy eating. Right. No. First, I need to address the fact that you're having a heart attack and save your life. Now we can discuss the nutrition and everything else later. So I want for people that just felt like, I'm on the edge. I don't know what to do. I can't think straight. I wanted something where you could sit, read this, and know that you have value in your life. you could look at things and analyze things and then clearly see what your next steps were, whether you needed professional help, whether you needed to address this one with the one that hurt you or whatever the situation is, however you need to deal with that. This was going to be that sort of, get in your face, let's get real. Let's expose some things. So let me give you some mindset tricks to how to look at this differently and sort of to do that first initial work that's necessary so you can get the strength to say, okay, now what are my next steps? And develop your own plan and then pursue that. And, that book not only opened doors for me professionally, but I had people of all different types of ethnicities, age groups. I remember one who wrote me a letter. I think it was a 5-page letter going through each chapter telling me how it impacted her life.
Wow.
And that just blew me away. Looked nothing like me, didn't have the same background as me, but it was like, wow. So that was how that book, and then of course there was a second book, But God from Death to Life, that was more of a poetic book that walked through the journey. So I'm very grateful for that first one because it was my aha, I have nothing to hide, and I'm going to speak my truth in order to help someone else.
Exactly, because like I say, we never know who it's going to touch. We don't know everybody's circumstances, but it's amazing how people can take a book and literally go line by line and just be in awe. Because I've been through that. When you go through, I've been invited to be a book group, and they read the book, and each one of them had literally tore every page up and went through that page and underlined it and had all these questions. And I'm just sitting there like, wow, I don't think I've ever been to a book club like this before. But,
I like that.
but
sometimes I've had to pull out my own book and reread it to get advice.
Thank you. Exactly. And it's funny that you said that because I think I posted that, probably a couple weeks ago, because we do sometimes we're so busy helping others that we do have to often go back, and I will go back and read my own book sometimes, or either just even listen to some of my own podcasts, because I'm so busy being involved with others that I forget that, you still need help too, and certain things to keep yourself motivated. And you know me pretty well because we've, you've helped me out with some things, and we've worked on some things to help me engage more within myself. And it's always that constant struggle of that, am I giving myself enough attention? And if I take the attention away from those people, what's going to happen? So it's that constant balancing act that, I'm still balancing every day. And I'm sure you go through that same process because.
Ooh, Father. Yes, Lord.
Because we still want to give people what they need. But in order for us to continue to go that direction, we have to stay healthy in our own mindfulness, spiritually, the whole kick and caboodle, not just one or the other. So you've gone through, you've got these amazing books. The one book, obviously, like I said, that was the book that opened many doors for you. But talk about your I want to know more about the Joy Guru, because I see that a lot. Talk about the Joy Guru.
It's so funny because I've had different coaches over the year, and they talk about that platform, and they're like, okay, well. And I tell them, for the most part, I keep the other platforms separate from the Joy Guru. The Joy Guru is never meant to be a platform to sell you anything or any of that. It's really meant, because life is so heavy, that every day you get a motivational message. There are times we write blogs and we give you those blog posts, but it was just for that person where I just need a smile today. I need a positive thought today. They could go to that platform. We typically have our posts there at 6:30 in the morning. So they could see something, a positive message to start off their day and smile and just go on.
But it seems like it's taken on more legs in its own right. I mean, because when you, because every time I see it, I mean, because when I see it, I'm like, oh, this is so cool. And I'm like, what else is going to come out of it? Because it definitely means something to people, even if they don't even really know what the Joy Guru is about. Just hearing the name makes you just want to figure out more. What else is coming, to the path of the Joy Guru? And even though, like you said, that the whole purpose of it is just to give you that few seconds or minutes of joy to start your day off. It's just amazing what how people do react and will react when it's something that's simple. So hopefully eventually
and I
down
laughed
the
at it.
yeah.
Because when I was writing the book, I'm
Uh-huh.
fussing with the Holy Spirit. And I'm going, okay, so you want me to write the book? Because this wasn't the book I wanted to write. You want me to write the book? You want me to do all this stuff? So what am I supposed to call myself? And
Right.
it was like, the Joy Guru.
Right.
Huh? And I'm laughing. And it's like now when I go places, hey, that's the Joy Guru. I'm like, that actually makes sense now. I'm sorry, Lord.
Right. You're right. Because like you were talking earlier, I didn't think about it until the way you said that there's definitely a difference between joy and just being happy. And, those seconds and those moments of joy can actually last the whole day, but you don't even realize it until it hits you. So, it's a great point that you made. And then having a book like that to help people get through and realize that this is your joy, but this is how we can get to happiness. I think that's important.
Yes.
But we are definitely going to be waiting and looking for more legs that come off of the Joy Guru. So I'm just throwing it out there.
Yeah.
I'm just throwing it out
no
there.
Pressure. No pressure at all.
None.
I'm working on it. I'm working on it.
Okay. I'm going to leave it alone. Let's move on to Fruition Publishing Concierge Services. So to talk a little bit more, I know I read a little bit more about the business, but talk a little bit about your services and how you go about with the concierge services, because there is obviously a difference in how you deal with the publishing side of your business.
Yes. My whole point is you can have the best vision. It's like business. You have the best vision, best idea, but if you do nothing with it, what's the point? Everyone has a story. But if the story lies within you, that's it. So it's like, let's really be transparent with our clients. Let's teach them the things they need to know. Let's answer their questions. Let's educate them during the process of publishing. And let's just make publishing simple. And that's what we do. So we offer, everything from ghostwriting to writing coaching to editing and then to actual publishing. So basically, from beginning to end, from the concept to the actual publication, and then going further when you're talking about speaking at things or crafting your platform, because for those that don't know that are listening, you need a platform, not just a book. So we help people with all of that. But we're very transparent. We want to treat you like you're not just another number, but we actually look at every client as an individual. What are your experiences? What is your message? Who are the people you want to talk to? And what's the best way with your vision, your passion, your skill set, and different things like that for you to do it? We don't want a cookie cutter approach. Some things are, standard, but other things we can customize because you're a unique individual that shouldn't be treated like another number.
Exactly. And believe me, I'm going to tell y'all, if you reach out to Miss Alesha Brown, she is no joke, okay? No joke.
I'm not going to let you not publish the book. I tell people that. If you're going to hire me and this is what you said you want to do, you're going to do it.
That's right.
Things happen, life happens, but you will publish this book if you said you want to publish the book, because once I accept you, I'm rooting for you. I believe in you. And who needs this book and the audience waiting? So you won't publish this book. It's not an option anymore. If you go, well, I can't, but no, you don't. But I'll love you and kiss the boo-boo too. We'll give you tissue, but you're going to publish this book.
See what I'm saying? She is no joke. She said she's going to do
I'll smile at you, though.
Exactly. But
I might give you a cookie. But you're going to do it. Now stop your crying and we're going to get it done. We can cry together, but it's going to be done. The mission must be completed.
There you go. And that's the key, because I think a lot of times when people, they come and they want to know, how do you write a book? Really, the biggest part people don't understand is the work that goes into it. And when you start to explain to them, it's not just about the writing. Oh my gosh, I get that look of, why don't you just do it for me? No, it's your story. And I can't tell you your story, so it is a process, and people need to realize that you are going to go definitely through your ups and downs. But the biggest part is understanding, not just about writing the story, but the legalities of it, putting together, publishing it, all of those things.
Yes. That's one of the things that I am very, very anal about, if I can use that word. People don't
Absolutely.
understand. I tell clients, this is your intellectual property. Okay, so you need to treat your idea and your words and everything as if you have the next $1 million solution. You can't give it to everybody. I make people sign non-disclosure agreements before they submit anything.
Yep.
You need to know that your work is protected. And if you don't hire our company to do everything, one thing I want to do is establish a pattern with you that if you go over here for this or go to the next person for this, you know what to ask for so you don't get taken. The publishing game, there's a lot of people that can go and they put the word publishing, and I'm telling you, they have no clue of what they're doing. They just don't.
See
There's
it every
big
day.
publishing companies. Exactly. There's huge publishing companies that got the floss and they look perfect. They're robbing you. They're ripping you off, and you don't know what you don't know. So we like to have education. I have clients sometimes go, I trust you. Thank you for sharing with me. I don't want to know anymore. That's fine. But I never want you to leave from me and have an experience where, oh, my publisher didn't tell me that. They didn't tell me that. They didn't tell me that. I want you to walk in a room as an expert and go, oh, I already know that. My publisher told me that. Yeah, I already know that too.
Exactly. Yep. And that's the way it should be. But, like I say, you've built your company in a completely different way that a lot of publishing companies just don't do. Obviously they may sign some documentation, but like I said, they walk out and really don't know, or walk in and out, don't really understand what the full process is. From point A to B, C, D to the end. And that's where most people make their mistakes. Because I get the question, oh, why don't you become a publisher? Like, no, I'm going to teach you how to do the steps, but that is the forte. I don't want to go down the path. And it's not because I don't understand the process, but you need to truly know what it takes. And then, so if you do decide to go to a publishing company, there's so many different types of publishing companies. Like you said, you'll be educated, you'll understand, because it is work. And like I said, it's much more than just writing. Because you learned it. That's how I started. Exactly.
I'm like you. I didn't want anything, none of that. But what I found was when I turned them over and we got to edit it, everything's great. Now you can go to a publisher. People were ripping them off. So I'm like, oh, I know that. And wow, they didn't even know that. And you paid them how much? Yeah. That made me come into publishing because I just couldn't see people that they had trauma. And by this time, I'm continuing to stay abreast of things and invest in education for publishing because I just wanted to know. So it started just like the business. The clients told us what they wanted, and that's what happened.
Right. Well, sometimes that's the best way, and that was your lane that you're meant to be in. And as people for me, I don't have a problem with coaching it and taking care of you, but I'm not trying to be no publishing company, so we're gonna bypass that one right now.
I understand. I do understand.
And that's why I'm like, I be referring. I'm like, go see Miss Alesha. I got you. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. We will help you. We'll even cry with you. But you're gonna get published. You're not gonna stop this.
Exactly. But a couple more questions. So, your businesses have been phenomenal. You're constantly, obviously, still growing and doing things. But there's always going to be those people out here. And my listeners, my show is about really helping them, giving them some advice. So, what advice would you give them about coming into business or writing a book?
Well, I would say some of these are the same for both. Or, you need to know your why. And I know people, some of these things sound like cliches or you've heard them before, but you really need to dig into those and really digest it. You need to know your why. Because if you don't clearly know why you're doing something, and your why cannot be money, I'm sorry. Because you'll know if your why is just money, there's going to be a lot of days you throw your hands up and say, just take it back. I'll pay you. I'm out. So your why has to be that deep purpose. And then another thing is know your comfort level and know your breaking point. Because, being an entrepreneur, even sometimes writing a book, especially depending on what topic you're talking about, you're comfortable here, but when I have to stretch you or you need to stretch to really go here in the topic, sometimes that's heavy. And I, as a publisher, as a consultant, I'll sit there with you and go, hey, I think we need to pause for a moment, and I suggest you go see someone to talk about this or that, because I'm watching what it's doing to you, and we haven't published it. And when you have to go and promote this book, sometimes you're opening up wounds all over again. as an
right.
entrepreneur. When
That's right.
things happen, you know, the influx. And today, I mean, in one day, I tell people, you can be high on life because all of these great things happening. I made this sale over here. You can lose the biggest contract you have, or the printing is delayed, or something happening in your business where everything is just not going smoothly. It's a lot of ups and downs all day. So you really need to be centered to know what your comfort level is, know what your breaking points are, and then know your expertise and your market. What are you can't be all things to all people. And I don't know why as entrepreneurs, oftentimes we buy this, I run the company, I have to know everything. No,
Right.
I don't.
Right.
I need to know what I'm really good at and just do that portion, and other people, whether I subcontract, whether I hire people, whether I have interns in that area, let them do all of that. Do what is your magic, your genius zone, and let other people do theirs. So you have to know what your expertise is, but then you have to know the market, because some things are great ideas, but if your market doesn't really need that, you're wasting money and time. What do they need, and where is the gap that your expertise and your services are just perfect for that everyone else is not doing? And then the one last thing, real quick, just understand that some things you can plan. I went and got a degree or certification or studied this. Some things you're only going to learn if you do them.
Exactly.
So don't be afraid to do.
Right.
You know, some people, I got a plan, and I got 10 years plan and 15 years, and I laugh sometimes. I'm like, and you're going to watch, start day one, call me back in 3 months, how all of those 15, da-da-da, well, I tried that, and none of it. Yeah, because this is the real life of me and the entrepreneur, okay? Great planning there. But this is the other part. Now, how quick can you think on your feet and how you solve this?
Exactly.
So, yeah, some things you just kind of have to do it and then trust yourself, because sometimes we don't, you know, something don't go our way, or it's a perceived failure, or this is evident, I should have never been a business owner. No, it's not. Not necessarily. It's okay. Breathe. It'll be all right. Maybe you need to change things differently, and that's okay, because that's truly business. But you have to be comfortable with your being the decision maker, the key stakeholder, and then making stuff happen. And if that's not your comfort level, either you don't need to fulfill that role, or maybe there's a different way you need to do business.
Yep, absolutely. Woo, boy, you heard it, y'all. I'm telling you, Miss Alesha Brown broke it down, okay? Broke it down.
I wish somebody had broke that down to me in business. All of those business classes and college courses, y'all lied. You didn't tell me this part. Like, oh, you're going to cry sometimes. It's going to be exaltation. And then you're going to cry. And then you're going to be excited again. No one told you that. And I guess I didn't need to know, because I might not have done it. But, yeah, they didn't tell me that part.
Exactly.
But that's okay. I'm not bitter.
Right, because it's just called reality, you know, and a lot of times, like you said, you can take as many classes and get all the certifications you want, but until you get out here and get into the real deal of it, that's when you truly start to really understand business, because you're a part of it. You're not just reading about it. And so it would be great that if these classes that they start providing, you know, start to have some of that reality part into it, I think, you know, people would really think about it differently, because they could really understand that this is what goes on. It's not just about sitting in here reading the papers, but, you know, obviously, you know, they wouldn't probably make the money. They're worried about making the money versus really teaching people the reality of business. And, you know, and that's really the key of it. And, you know, obviously, you know, we want to have the guidance that you need, some of the proper guidance, but it is so much more involved. And I agree with you. If you're going to come into business, you need to understand why you're coming in there. And like one of my good friends always says, if you don't know your purpose and you're just chasing profit, like you said, it's not going to work, because there's going to be many days. There's going to be many days you ain't going to have no profit. So you better have a better purpose and a reason of why you're coming into business, period.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. But on that note, we are definitely coming to the end, or actually at the end of the show. But before we close out, Miss Alesha, could you please tell everyone how they can get a hold of you, where they can find you on social media, you know, reach out to you if they need your assistance?
Yes. Well, for everything publishing, you can always go to fruitionpublishing.com. And I understand some people don't know how to spell that. So it's Fruit, ION, fruitionpublishing.com, fruitionpublishing.com. Now, if for some reason you forget that, if you just go to thejoyguru.net, you'll have all my links to everything. So you'll be able to reach out to me. You'll see the different platforms. You'll be able to listen to the podcast, get the link for that, the publishing company, as well as, just to me in general. And on all platforms, we're on most social media platforms. For me personally, you'll find me at The Joy Guru. Except for Facebook, I'm Alesha Brown, The Joy Guru. But just thejoyguru.net, you'll find me. Publishing, fruitionpublishing.com. If you forget that, thejoyguru.net has everything.
All right, then. Well, you guys have all heard it. And I definitely would like to say thank you again for coming on to my show this evening with me. It has been such a pleasure, and you have definitely provided some great information and golden nuggets about what it means to be in business, what it means to be a publisher, what it means to write a book, what it means to be a survivor. Girl, you have been through it all. But we do thank you. And, people, if you're listening and if you missed this live tonight, you can always go back and review and listen. We're on several different other platforms. I believe 11. I'm starting to lose count. But at the end of the day, you definitely want to hear this interview because it's great information. And, there's always somebody out there who's going to connect. And if you connected with us, you want to reach out to any of us, like she said, she's giving you all her information. She's on all social media platforms, you can, as well as your Facebook platforms. If you would like to reach out to me, you're more than welcome to reach out to me as well on my WSBI LC platform through Facebook. So, of course, I'm on YouTube, Twitter, where all the social media platforms. If you would like to leave me a message, you can reach out to me through Kimberly at WSBILC.com. And, please ask us questions because that's what we're here for. We have definitely got the experience and we've definitely been through some things in life that we don't necessarily like to have to relive, but we're here to help you. Never assume that there's no one out there to help you. But again, thank you for coming on tonight. We are here every Thursday evening at 7 p.m. If you are interested as well as being a guest on my show, you're more than welcome to leave me a message at Kimberly@WSBILC.com. And please, if you're interested, don't just leave a message. Send me a short bio, your picture, a professional picture, of course.
Yes.
And I don't want to see, don't send me those snapshots that you took on your phone. I need professional pictures. And I also need a nice business logo. Please send that as well. But until next time, you all enjoy your evening. And again, thank you for listening to the show tonight. Good night.
Good night, everyone. We will be back next Thursday evening at 7 p.m. Follow us on Spreaker, www.spreaker.com/user/WSBI. View our new WSBI website anytime at www.wsbillc.com and on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Instagram.